Hi, everyone. Today we are sitting down with our CEO and CTO, Joseph and Avinash. We are here to dive into some of the reviews that you have left us on Glassdoor. Whether it's good or bad, we take them all very seriously because they help us grow. We want to address some of the feedback directly to you, and probably what I'll do is I'll read them out to you and you can share your take on it. Would that be okay, guys?
Sounds good.
Let's do it.
Fantastic. Let's dive in. I'll start off with a critical one, which is constructive and critical. This goes back from 3rd of September 2024, so fairly a recent one from our ex-employee maybe, or current one, not too sure. It says, work hard, progress hard. The pros that they have mentioned is the team is extremely professional. In the cons, we have the amount of work is enormous, and it's very hard and almost impossible to, kind of maintain healthy work lifestyle and life balance. What do you think about that?
I think that it will likely depend on the person, but maybe especially for younger folks, for sure,
Yeah.
where when you first join this company, we do have high expectations, so we'll just be very open and honest about that. We do try and have people develop very quickly. And for people to develop quickly, I think there does need to be a lot of work.
Correct.
So I would kind of agree. I do think that there is a lot, especially the younger you are and the more you have to learn, it's going to be very difficult. Avinash, what do you think?
I think there is truth to that comment. And we are a startup and working on something very ambitious. So we always talk about like the project we chose is might not have been the best project to just start with.
Yeah.
Because we are establishing a company in India where the gaming itself is new. The talent is also not there in terms of gaming. So imagine how many challenges we have. So there is no other way to build this game but to work hard. So
Yeah, and maybe I can
yeah.
also just kind of add on to what Avinash is saying. Like, one of our ambitions is to really try to make something great. I mean, I think one of the important things to understand is that there's different companies with different objectives.
Yeah.
And so if you're working for a company that's just doing live services, or if you're just doing services for other game studios in foreign countries, the expectations are going to be different. What we're trying to do is we're trying to build a new game, so that's difficult. And as Avinash mentioned, shooters are likely the most difficult genre to work on. And so the level of difficulty with at least the current level of experience requires a lot of work. So from that perspective, I would probably agree with this person.
Yeah. I mean, there's a positive aspect to that feedback also. So the advice to management that he's giving or she's giving is management is moving in the right direction. There are clear processes to track tasks and goals, and there's incredible progress. Format to improve the documentation and erase mistake from the past. The main point would be to create rules and to follow up. So I think it's all in all a very constructive and touches the common points that we are trying to address here. Very constructive and positive. And someone thinks that we are on the right path. So yeah, kudos to that.
Let me also maybe not disagree with that. I mean, I don't want to disagree with management is going in the right direction, but I also want to be honest that I will say, like, we've been at this for almost 4 years.
Yeah.
This is as we just talked about, this is a very difficult game, very difficult project. We also had, at least for me, and we had a previous other co-founder as well, shooters was a new genre.
yeah.
So like working from, let's say, the 4X genre to shooters, going from 2D to 3D, going from a game that was largely systems-based to a game that's largely like more gameplay-oriented was a very difficult transition. And I will have to say that working in India, working with what we have here was difficult. I do think there was a period of time we were probably not going in the right direction. We were going in the wrong direction. We had a lot of problems. We had a lot of issues. But I would say that the thing that I would hope people understand is that, I've been in the gaming industry for a very long time, worked on a lot of projects that were both good and bad. But I would say that in all of them, I can't think of a single game project where there weren't a lot of problems. And so I think, at least for us, we try to identify those and try to identify what are the biggest problem. And maybe we have resolved those problems too slowly, but I do think, like, compared to 3 years ago, we're a lot better. Compared to, 2 years ago, even 1 year ago, even 3 months ago. And the thing that's encouraging for me is I do think within the last 2 to 3 months, the rate of improvement has become a lot higher, which is actually, if we're going to make it, has to get better and better.
Yeah.
So,
And one thing has changed a lot recently, which is very positive for us, is only founders cannot make a company successful. Like that's the truth for any company.
Yeah.
And now we are actually seeing people contributing to not only product, but also to the culture.
Yeah.
So, sometimes, messaging about culture and how things should be done comes from founders. But actually, we are also making mistakes. We are also learning. But when people actually step in and they also start giving you critical feedback, then that helps a lot. And that has been happening recently a lot. So we are very encouraged by that.
Fantastic. What are your thoughts on this, especially in a high growth environment like ours? This is going to be one of the most critical ones that I'm seeing on the page. This company has not only struggled to deliver a quality game, but also cultivated a deeply toxic and discriminatory work environment. My tenure there was, in all honesty, a nightmarish ordeal. One of the most glaring problems was glaring lack of respect for employees. It was painfully evident that the founders who held considerable amount of power and wealth were treated with stark favoritism. I'm not too sure how to go about this. What's your take?
yeah, I mean, yeah, that's kind of interesting to hear. I do think, though, I will say we do have a culture of direct feedback. And I think that depending on who you are, you could interpret that feedback as, like, there are some people here that get direct feedback and they're like, great, give me more. And I think that there are some people who would take that same feedback and be really hurt by it. Now, I will say my personal approach, and I think Avinash is different from me, but I am very direct. So I think I know who this person is. They didn't report to me, so I'm a little bit surprised why they would say something like this. But I would say for the people, and I'd be happy to have people talk to, some of the people who I do work with, and they can give you a lot of examples of where I have been hard. But ultimately, like, one of the things I say is, like, I actually treat employees here kind of like I treat my family. So, like, how I would talk to my son, how I would talk to my daughter, I'm very direct. And, I think that for us in this kind of environment, we have to have that direct communication. Now, there's some people where I've not had to have a super hard direct conversation with just because they're growing so fast. But, like, it usually comes when I have to ask somebody to do something 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. And then what I really want to do is I want to make it very clear what the feedback is and what the kind of change that has to happen needs to be. Because the other thing that I actually think is kind of the opposite of what this person is talking about is something that is called toxic kindness.
Correct.
Right? Which is where you are working with somebody and there's a problem, you don't say anything, and then you just fire them. And it's like, wait, what happened? What did I do wrong?
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
So I believe that we always want to give somebody a chance. And, Jensen Huang from NVIDIA had, recently talked about how he likes to torture people into greatness. I actually think I'm probably not as hard as Jensen Huang, but despite that, he has, I think we talked about this before, he has one of the highest approval ratings of any CEO. But, I feel bad for this person that they felt this way or they felt compelled to write this. I personally don't, I think there is not, I don't know, I find it hard to believe that that this was actually their experience, but it's probably rooted in something where, they had these kind of feelings. I think they probably just exaggerated a little bit. Is my true feeling about that. I don't know what you think.
So before this interview, I told you that I have not read Glassdoor reviews. So this is the first time I'm hearing about this. So this past 4 year was in a way was long and fast also.
Yeah.
So we had so many changes, so many issues, and then resolutions, and there was a lot of things
Correct.
going on.
Yeah.
So, and also since I have a lot of experience in India in terms of startups, so startup culture is still not that common here. Like most of the people, either they will come from college and either choose startups or MNC, or some people will just transition between them. And then gaming being a very small segment, so the expectations and reality could be very different.
Right.
So in a startup, when you are a small team, you are in the mission. So like for past 4 years for us have been a mission. Yeah, just moving forward, correcting things, moving forward, correcting things. In that, it's very hard to pay attention to like feelings and all those things. And one culture value we have, which actually works in favor of this, is just direct communication, which you said, and also common sense rules. So maybe you might have expected, JK, that this culture value will be very easy to adopt, but knowing India is not that easy.
Right.
So even if we say, hey, if you have an issue, just tell me.
Right.
You very rarely will get that response like, hey, actually I have this issue.
Yeah.
That won't happen. And I think this review might also be reflection of, okay, the person was feeling something, maybe something happened, maybe the person was not very adaptive to the work style of a startup or the work style we do, and just didn't discuss the issues, and then just expressed it in this review. But I would say it was not easy 4 years. And
One part of I remember there's another part of that feedback, which was that we have special treatment, or could you read that part?
Yeah, so it says that they have led an opulent lifestyle while complaining about trivial and first world problems, such as where to send their children to school, and all of this while they are oblivious of other aspect of employee sacrifices, right? Perhaps the most baffling aspect of the company's habit of hiring individuals from non-gaming backgrounds to dictate the game development and decisions of the seasoned professionals. I'm not too sure where.
Well, let's kind of separate this issue.
Yeah.
So first of all, I mean, so we had another co-founder, Paul. There are videos of us starting this game studio where he was literally lying on the floor of, like, he didn't have a bed. He was at his mom's house. And I remember in the second year of this company, we had to, like, we got in a little bit of trouble because we realized that we weren't paying him minimum wage.
Ooh.
So we had to, and so like this notion of like special treatment or living an opulent lifestyle, I used to live an opulent lifestyle. Like if you saw my house before starting this company, like 5 years ago, or the amount of money that I made before this company, but like, I think people really have these like built-in prejudices because they don't realize I took a 75% pay cut. They don't realize that for the past 5 years, I have not been cash flow positive. I've been losing money every month. They don't realize that, when I remember seeing something about like, how, well, I think anyone who's actually worked here will know I work all the time. I mean, I lead by example, and nobody really outworks me.
Yeah.
So I think that this one, I would just have to say, is absolutely false. I think that there are probably some built-in prejudices that they have. And it's just so completely, like, there's so much evidence of what actually happened, right? Whether when Paul was in his bedroom of us, when we had to increase his salary so he would make minimum wage and things like that. So I think this is where maybe this person is just saying whatever they can to try and hurt us.
Got it. We have to take it with a pinch of salt. I
Right.
think Glassdoor also acts as a venting out space. I've seen many companies actually, kind of get the treatment that they haven't given to the employees. People just use this platform for their own benefit. So yeah, I mean, not everything that's written can be true, but at the same time, we definitely take it seriously. Here we are today, right?
Yeah.
I'll move on to the next
Well,
one.
there was that also the second part of that was like, we hire new people and don't listen to industry professionals or something like
Yes.
that. There are actually very few actual industry professionals here in this company, right? I think, Avinash and I have a little bit of experience, but for the most part, there are a lot of people who are, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to start this company, is to give people who don't have the opportunity an opportunity to learn and develop. That's one aspect of it. I think that we're not doing a live services game here. So the approach and the way that some people think they should do things, like they did at Zynga or at, Druva or wherever, as like in a services company, cannot work here. I've interviewed so many people who have 5 or 6 years of experience, and for me, I would rather hire somebody with no experience. And if you look at a lot of our product managers here, they have no product management experience. They came from investment banking, they came from engineering, and now some of them actually are quite good and very skilled. And it's because of, as we mentioned before, they're working really hard and getting great experience and learning a lot. So I do think this one is also, for me, kind of sour grapes and just trying to hurt us. I think that's unfortunate, but that would be how I would interpret that second part of that feedback.
So, Joseph, I think I have the next critical review for you.
Okay?
How would you like to address this concern? It says the company is great, but the employees, but it's not everyone's cup of tea. That's where it starts, right?
Okay.
The Glassdoor review has pros and cons. There are learning opportunities. The company provides ample opportunities to learn and grow, especially in the game development. Exposure to game development, you get hands-on experience and exposure to work on various aspects of the game development. Tech benefits, access to latest technology, tools that enhances your work and skills. So these are the good parts about the review. They say that in the cons, we have poor work-life balance. This has been a common touch point in our previous reviews as well. So the working hours are irregular, making it difficult to maintain a healthy lifestyle. There is weekend work. Employees are often required to work on days, on weekends, which could be challenging for personal life.
I think that, I mean, we kind of touched upon it before, but I feel like, and this is something that I've talked to a lot of our employees about before, but I like a world where there's different kinds of choices. And so if you are somebody who wants work-life balance, I'm so happy there's a Zynga that you can join Zynga and you can have work-life balance. I think for us, we'd like to present a different choice. If you want to do something great, if you want to learn really fast, that requires hard work and sacrifice. At least in today's world. Who knows, maybe AI changes everything, so this is the last opportunity for any of us to work hard. But for us, in order to learn at the pace that we need to address this massive challenge that Avinash mentioned, because we did choose shooter, it's so difficult.
Yeah.
I would say yes, we are a different choice. Work chocolate, maybe Zynga with work-life balance is vanilla. It requires, sacrifice, it requires hard work. But, the other thing too, though, is like the framing of this to some degree is something that I don't agree with, because I do feel like, like you've been here, you've seen people that work here that are working hard here, and, there's laughter, people are joking, people enjoy each other's company. So it's not like, okay, we're working hard, which must mean it's a terrible experience. I actually think that there are some people who really are passionate about what they work on. They get to learn, they get to develop, and they're enjoying what they're doing because they have a passion for it. That's not everybody.
Correct.
And I think as a company, we are not for everybody.
So we agree we are not everyone's cup of tea.
I
Nor do we want
would
to be,
probably
yeah?
agree with this review.
Right,
Yeah.
I hear you. Got it. Another point that's raised by an employee is, okay, now this is very crude, okay? There's extreme racism, and that's practiced in the company. They see Indian people as slaves. They want cheap labor. They treat people with disrespect, and they expect you to do that because somehow they are superior. they also say pretty bad things about India, and people just sit around and listen because anyone giving feedback is fired. Is that true?
So first of all, I would say I was shocked when I heard that about Avinash.
Yeah.
No, that is absolutely not true. I mean, there's a few things I could talk about. Like one, like I guess they're maybe talking about me or potentially our previous co-founder. But like some of my best friends are Indian. I don't understand where that comes from. I mean you've been
You
here.
both are co-founders, yeah.
Yes, exactly. We're both
Yeah.
co-founders, and like I think you've been here. It's not like I don't greet anybody in the office. I talk to a lot of people. So that part, I think this is. Well, I will say this: we have let some people go here. We also had an incidence of somebody that basically stole about 20 lakhs from the company. Well, the point being, like, there are some people who do have an axe to grind with us. This one, I think, is just completely false. But I don't know. Avinash, you want to?
I mean, this seems very personal. Like, sometimes when you just want to vent out, you just say everything, you could say. So I would respect, this platform to allow, people to express whatever they want to express. But as here we both are co-founders. So like JK is not the only, like I am also the part of company leadership. So, it's not only JK's company, or it's not like, American, companies. Like I'm also Indian.
No,
I have equity in the company. Like I'm one of the founders.
Yeah.
So like we don't get benefit from being racist to anybody here.
Yeah, one thing this makes me think of is like, I will say that there has been a lot of pushback really around this issue of being a hardcore company versus a company that supports work-life balance.
Right.
And I do think that there are some people who feel so sensitive about that they are very angry. And that, we've experienced that. I've had personal attacks. We've had a lot of review bombing and things like that. And it's interesting because I had a conversation with someone from the company today who was talking about how societally, India looks to the West, and there's certain things that are being adopted from the West. Yeah. I think if you look at the West today, I do think that there is kind of like this notion of this societal kind of trend around, maybe you call it wokeism, maybe you call it this kind of like polarization, or like this inability, like they want certain things to be done a certain way. So if you don't support work-life balance, you are my enemy. And there was something else that I was recently reading about how part of this movement, there's like this feeling that you don't have to be factually correct if you are morally correct. And so this notion that, oh, these guys are evil, they don't support work-life balance, we need to get them. We need to take them down, whether it's factual or not. And look, I can't say that that's what this is, but I will say I have personally experienced some, whether it's personal attacks or other things, that makes me think that this might have something to do with it.
Hey, I'll be honest, like I've been here for quite some time now. I'm working with your team very closely with the HR team, which is on the forefront of, kind of all interactions. At least in my experience, I haven't seen anyone actually crib about this, right? If it's on Glassdoor, there could be a bigger reason or a personal vendetta against the company. I mean, that's one of the reasons that we can think of. But at the same time, we are here to, kind of bust the myths about us that's actually posted on a public forum. I'll move on to the next one, and let's see how that goes. This is one of the coolest companies you could work for. That's what the status says.
I agree with that.
Fantastic. You get to work with a team that's diverse and comprising.
I will say we do need to work on our diversity a little bit more.
Right.
Right. Well, again, we want to be honest. So,
Yeah. But
Got it.
too many challenges to take on.
But yeah,
We still are a
trying.
lean team.
We're trying,
Actually, one of the good things that I see is I see many goals in the team, right? Especially in creative departments. I see some of them in art, some of them in creative, some of them in HR. So we have a good mix. But of course, this does not end here. We have to.
I mean, it's a Indian gaming industry reality. Like you should attend IGDC
Right.
in November, and you would see the mix there.
But I think our perspective is we will try our best, at least top of funnel, to try and attract diverse talent. But ultimately, we're going to make a decision based upon
Merit.
our typical tests and things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Okay. The other thing they have said is the team is led by experienced founders who have previously worked with successful projects. I think that's both of you, right? We enjoy the flexibility of choosing our work hours, option to work from home. I'm not sure if that's still true, but the team members are highly motivated and passionate about the project they are working on. That's the game that we are talking about. We are equipped with high-end gadgets and specifications, ensuring that they do not hinder our performance. And lastly, most importantly, the product that we are working on has a great potential.
That sounds overly positive.
What to say?
That was probably somebody. You know how I think there's some people that write reviews that are out to get us. I think that one sounds like somebody was trying to really be positive. So,
Yeah, I
if
think
I'm
in
being
cons
honest.
also they are mentioning that I really don't think there are any cons. I love working here. So clearly someone really loves working here.
Somebody's already here.
Yeah, great. I think we'll close this discussion with the last one that I have on the list.
Yeah.
It goes back to 3 months back. Working at Lila has been incredibly rewarding experience is the title of the.
Okay, so it's good to end positive.
The team here is passionate, driven, genuinely committed, pushing the boundaries of mobile gaming. The company focuses on innovation, and that's just not a buzzword. It's embedded in everything that we do. So that's the pro. In terms of con, if you're looking to work on something that's truly exciting, then I believe it won't be such an issue. So I think they're talking about work-life balance and going above and beyond to kind of work on the projects they are passionate about. Yeah. So if you are really into something, if you really like the project that you're working on, I think what they mean to say is that it won't be an issue to stretch further.
Yeah. I mean, I can take this one. Yeah. So one thing we want to be very transparent with what we do, and we don't want to be a company where when we actually interview you and do our culture rounds and all, we communicate something else, and when you join, it's a different story. So what the person is trying to say is we want to be true to that. Like, hey, this is a challenging project. We have this kind of work culture, and this is how we are. If it fits for your work style, then Lila could be a good place where we together can build something amazing. Otherwise, it's also totally fine.
Yeah.
And maybe what I could end with is that, I think that one of our company values is character. Like, we actually want to be as honest as possible, being honest about the kind of company we are. We're not going to promise anybody work-life balance. And clearly, I guess we don't have it, according to everybody. Although I want to remind people like, we do joke around. It is fun for at least some people, maybe not those people that love the negative reviews. But we really do want to be a company of character and do things the right way, which is one. And then, I think that because we are trying to do something so difficult, I would just try to be honest with what you're looking for. If that's what you're looking for, I think we're one of the few companies doing this. And again, it may not be for everybody, but if that's you, then we would love to have that kind of a person here. And if what you're really looking for is that work-life balance, because obviously for some people it's so important, there are many, many other companies. I think the vast majority of the companies I've come across in gaming in India are work-life balance based. So I think you have a lot of choices there. So I would just hope that people don't attack us as one of the few companies that are providing an alternative.
Got it. Great. Thank you, Avinash and Joseph. It was great talking to you. Very insightful in terms of kind of busting the myths around Lila. I'm very happy not many founders come up and actually address these things on a public forum. I'm very happy that you've done that. And thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Pia.
Thank you.